Hello learners, imagine if you could travel to the most breathtaking places on this earth and that too without moving your chair. Do you think it is possible? Yes, with poetry it is definitely possible. Poetry let you explore various cultures, landscapes and experiences through the power of words. It's time for us to know how poets transform their travel experiences into verses through this power of words. So, in this video, we'll see how poetry as a form of travel writing can be emphasized. Let's have a look at it. Before we proceed, I have a question for you. Do you actually think poetry can be a form of travel writing? In our previous videos, we have already discussed about various other forms of travel writing, which are travel log, travel blog and travel vlogs. Do you think poetry can also be a travel writing? Do think about it and do note it down whatever comes to your mind while answering this question. Let's proceed to the next. In this video, as you know, we are going to explore the poem Travel and the poet of the poem is R.L. Stevenson. R.L. Stevenson, in his book A Child's Garden of Verses, has included this poem Travel. So before we proceed into the stanza-wise explanation, I have something for you where we'll dive deeper into the poem. What is travel about? So this poem is about the poet's desire to travel far and wide beyond the familiar. Also, he imagines exotic and adventurous destinations. So, now let's see the stanza-wise explanation of this poem. The first stanza is there in front of you. I should like to rise and go, where the golden apples grow, where below another sky, parrot islands anchored lie, and watched by cockatoos and goats, lonely Crusoes building boats. Here, as we can see, the poet has taken us to some distinct and adventurous land where golden apples grow. Also, there you can find parrots and cockatoos. Also, you can see Robinson Crusoe building his boat there. Let's see the next stanza. What we have in the next stanza? The next stanza says, where in sunshine reaching out, eastern cities miles about, are with mosque and minaret, among sandy gardens set, and the rich goods from near and far hang for sale in the bazaar. Now, the poet has transported us into a place which is an eastern city, and there you can find many mosques and minarets. Also, you can see some sandy gardens over that place. Also, that place has a bazaar where you can see many goods from far and near. So, we see here how the poet transports us to different lands. Now, let's see the next stanza. The next stanza says, where the Great Wall around China goes, and on one side the desert flows, and with the voice and bell and drum, cities on the other hum. Here, the poet has transported its readers to a place where we can see the Great Wall of China. Also, he says that on one side of the wall, there is a desert, whereas on the other side, you can see a city which has different noises like the voice and bell and drum. Let's see what we have in the next stanza. The next stanza says, where are forests hot as fire, wide as England, tall as a spire, full of apes and cocoa nuts, and the Negro hunters' huts, where the naughty crocodile lies and blinks in the Nile. So here we can see the poet has transported us to a place where we can see a wide range of flora and fauna. Like we can see apes, we can see cocoa nuts, also we can see Negro hunter huts over there. Also, not to miss, some naughty crocodiles can be seen lying and lazing there, blinking their eyes in the Nile. Let's see what we have in the next stanza. The next stanza says, "And the red flamingo flies, hunting fish before his eyes, where in jungles near and far, men devouring tigers are, lying close and giving ear, lest the hunt be drawing near." So here the poets talk about jungles where we can find the ferocious tigers. They are watching closely to catch their prey. Aren't you all excited to travel on this journey along with the poet? At least I am. I am sure you too are. Let's see the next stanza. "On a corner be seen, swinging in the palanquin, where among the desert sands some deserted city starts. All its children sweep and prince, grown to manhood ages since. Not a foot in street or house, not a stir of child or mouse." Now, the poet has transported us to a place which is a deserted city. That means that is not inhabited. You cannot see any child or any creature or any sort of movement to that place. So, we have started from a bazaar. Now we have moved to a place which is not at all inhabited. Let's see where we travel next. In this stanza, we see, "And when kindly falls the night, in all the town no spark of light, there I'll come when I am a man, with a camel caravan." So here the poet now wishes, then he has come to a place where it is completely dark and no spark of light is there. So he wishes when he will be a man, that is when he'll grow up, he'll definitely come to that place with a camel caravan. Let's see towards the ending of this poem what the poet wants to convey. The poet here says, "Light a fire in the gloom of some dusty dining room. See the pictures on the walls, heroes' fights and festivals, and in a corner find the toys of the old Egyptian boys." So towards the end, the poet is conveying to us that he has come to a place which is dark and deserted. Also, when he sparked the light, he could see some dusty dining room. Over there, he could see some pictures on the walls, and those pictures were of the heroes' fights and festivals and the battles that those heroes have fought. And also in the corner of that room, he could see some toys of the old Egyptian boys. I'm sure, dear learners, you would have enjoyed the poem right from the place where cockatoos were there, to the place where minarets and mosques were there, to the bazaars, and now to a deserted city which is completely dark. So hope you have understood what the poet R.L. Stevenson wants to convey here. It's time for a task now, and the task is how poetry as a form of travel writing is a different genre. Since you have explored this poem throughout this video, how do you think it is different? Remember that you have to focus on feelings, use of symbols and metaphors, sound and rhythm, and also creative freedom. When you'll focus on these points, I'm sure you'll be able to answer this question well. So see you in the next video. Till then, happy learning.